Hello and welcome to Talking Whiskey. My name is Grant and today we're going to be talking about tasting whiskey, or more specifically, how I taste a whiskey. So the first thing I should probably let you know is the type of glass that I use. So I use something called a Glencairn glass, which is this. Now I use this because the idea behind the glass is that it's a tulip shape, so it helps you to get a different way, or you could say a better way of smelling a whiskey. Now that is of course subjective, this is just the glass that I prefer. So the idea behind it is the shape of the bowl that thins up to the top allows some of the alcohol vapors to collect in the bottom, but funnels the smell straight up the middle of the glass. So for example, let's say you've got a tumbler or a rocks glass. If you've got a pour of whiskey in here and a pour of whiskey in here, when you're smelling them, I mean, you can see the difference with the opening. So a lot of that smell might go past you. Whereas with this, you're going to get a lot more of concentrated of that smell. Now really, what glass you use is down to your preference. Personally, if I'm drinking a whiskey straight, I tend to drink it out of one of these. If I'm having a whiskey cocktail or perhaps a bourbon and coke or something, I'll drink it out of one of these. So there's no real right answer about what glass you use, it's just your preference. So the next thing is then, if I'm tasting a whiskey, I'm going to smell it. But why do you smell a whiskey? So the basic answer is you're smelling it to help your brain get ready for what you're about to be trying and about to be tasting. So when I smell a whiskey, I have a pour of whiskey inside my glass and I'll do short smells from it. So short smells. And also another thing is you keep your mouth open slightly. I mean, not because you look a little bit silly, but just keep your mouth open. And when you smell and you breathe through your mouth at the same time, it just helps your brain collect those smells better to then identify them a little bit better. Now, something you kind of want to try and look out for is trying to get memories or trigger memories from smells. So for example, there's a whiskey called Balcones Brimstone. When I first smelt it, it made me remind myself of when I was 10 years old in my parents' garden and we were having a barbecue. The barbecue had just been done. We were just about to put the pineapple smothered in golden syrup on the barbecue, and that smell immediately made me remember that. Something you've got to be prepared when you're smelling whiskey. It's a little bit like how you can smell a perfume or an aftershave and immediately remember someone and look for them, but they might not necessarily be there. So once I've smelt my whiskey, I'm then going to taste my whiskey, and that's fairly easy. I've smelt it a few times, I've got an idea about what I'm going to be smelling. I've maybe picked out a few notes that I'm seeing. It could be, I don't know, say a caramel and a vanilla. If it's a peaty one, there'll be smoke in it. And then I'll take a taste. Now when I take a taste, it's usually just a little sip to start with. Someone once said to me, it was the best way of trying to get your head around it is, imagine you're taking a sip of a hot drink. So you're not going to take a huge big mouthful, just take a little one where you can then start enjoying it. Now when I take that sip, I tend to just take the sip and swallow it, and then I'll start figuring out what's going on. Now, numerous people can do different things where you can hold it in your mouth for longer, you can lightly turn it around in your mouth. I don't tend to do that very often, but it's always something you can do. Something I also do is if I'm exploring a whiskey, if I've got a new one that I'm trying out for the first time, I'll put a little drop of water in it. And if you want to know a little bit more about adding water to whiskey, check out this link up here. But that tends to be just the way that I taste whiskey. Let me know how you guys taste it. Let me know if you've maybe got some tips for me perhaps that I could be picking up on. I'd love to know how you guys do it too. And thank you again, and cheers.